Welcome back to AFTV. Christian, Arsenal 4, Wigan 0, fifth round of the FA Cup. Very good performance, all over in half an hour, basically. Your thoughts?
Like you say, over in half an hour, it's a professional performance. It's exactly what we expected. You know, no disrespect to Wigan, but they're 22nd in League One. You expect to score goals. I thought the team selection was strong, but with the squad we've got, it's rarely ever not strong. So, I thought everyone stepped up. It was nice to see Eze in this game. You know, we were saying before we need to see him have a big game. Again, it's Wigan, so he should have a big game. But you can only beat what's in front of you. You know, some teams went to Grimsby this season and couldn't beat them. So, you know, Wigan in League One is no easy feat. It should be an easy feat, especially for this Arsenal team. So, professional performance, job done, and like I said, good to see some players step up.
And you mentioned Eze there. Now this was, I would argue, out of all the players that started today, Eze was probably the one most under scrutiny given what had happened against Brentford. He took a lot of stick. He got hooked at half time. Yep. Coming into this game, a lot of people say, look, he's got to produce a performance. Now, I thought he was man of the match. I know they gave it to Norgard, but I thought he was outstanding today. 2 assists, really good assists, a number of opportunities he created for others and a few for himself. Do you think he'll get the starting berth for the game against Wolves this Wednesday? Yeah,
I think he has to. You know, I don't think Odegaard's going to be fit. Havertz is obviously still going to be out, so it's kind of the only guy we're going to have in that number 10 position. And going into it now, you know, with some confidence. You know, I thought he was man of the match today. We'll talk about Norgard as well because I thought he was brilliant, and I know he got man of the match on the broadcast. But he should have more confidence. I want to see a confident Eze. I want to see an Eze who plays those decisive passes through the middle, that drives forward, that's trying to get shots off. In the second half, I thought he maybe could have taken a shot maybe a few more times, trying to be a bit too intricate. But the first half performance was, like we say, was brilliant. 2 assists, especially that first ball through to Madueke. We don't really see that.
Is that the best of the 4?
I think so. That was my favourite goal out of the 4. We don't really see that kind of movement from our wingers in the Premier League, which I think is a problem. We don't really play through the middle like that. Arteta's obsessed with, you know, wing play, recycling it out to the wings, kind of playing the percentages. You can let the shackles off in a game like this a little bit more, and I think we see, you know, you see players expressing themselves and showing their quality a little bit more. So I want to see that in the Premier League. You know, against a team like Wolves, again, try and be a bit more expressive, a bit more open, a bit more fluid. You can do that. Good to get confidence in players. And like I said, Christian Norgard, you know, every time, I got to big him up, every single time he's been called upon, he stepped up. Since pre-season, I remember being impressed with him in pre-season when he played some minutes. And like you say, he comes into these games, looks like a top professional in there, and he should be. He was captain of Brentford, who I think finished 10th last season. So if you're captain for a team that finishes 10th, you're more than good enough to be a squad player for Arsenal, and we're seeing that consistently. Maybe he should get more minutes, because I love Zubimendi. I think he's been brilliant, but there have been games he's been off it, and maybe Norgard could come in and fill a role. So, big up to him as well. Madueke in the first half, I thought was good. Got a nice goal, good finish.
Very good finish.
Good to see Saka back. I thought he looked sharp in the first half, and then it makes sense to play him for 45 minutes, rest, because he shouldn't have started in the first place. He probably would have come on for maybe 20 or 30 minutes. So to play 45, take him off was smart. Jesus, you know, scored a nice goal, really nice little chip. Again, you want to see more of those kind of goals from Jesus in the Prem. But good day all round.
Was you, at the risk of being a bit picky, was you a little disappointed that after half an hour we didn't score again? I mean, I had actually predicted 4-0, but I've got to admit that I was hoping to see a few more goals in the second half.
I can see why someone would be disappointed. If you scored 4 goals in 27 minutes, you want to see more. But like I say, the job was done. You know, we don't need to be picky. It's a professional performance. I get why people would say that, but you got to give credit to Wigan as well. You know, they defended well in the second half. They put their bodies on the line. There were some tackles flying in that from us and them.
And the keeper made a few good saves as well.
The keeper made some good saves, so it doesn't actually matter. I get why people would say it, but the job was done in the first half. So
And you think after let's be honest, the game against Brentford, the vibes were a bit flat. Do you think this game, winning 4-0 at home, has given the club a little bit more, how can I put it, a bit more momentum, a little bit more positivity around the place? Or don't you think it matters too much?
No, I think it does. But I think the positivity was already there. You know, look at the season as a whole. 4 points.
From you maybe, but I've got to admit, there was a lot of doom and gloom after the Brentford game.
You know what? I think there's less doom and gloom than people think. I think the majority of the fan base are actually on side, are actually looking at the season as a whole and thinking, It's been brilliant. You know, I keep saying, if you offered me this position at the start of the season, would I have taken it? Of course I would. Would you have taken it? Of course. Any Arsenal fan offered this position in terms of 4 points clear in the Prem, knockout stages of the Champions League, Carabao Cup final and 5th round of the FA Cup, you'd snap your hand off for that at this stage of the season. 100%. So, like I keep saying, until that situation isn't one that I wouldn't take, I'm going to be positive. I'm going to back it. You know, I've seen brilliant performances this season from a lot of these players. Probably more defensively than going forward. I will admit that. Do we need to go up a gear in the attack towards the end of this season? I will say we do as well. But do I think that they can? These players, I think they can as well. You know, I need to see Saka get back to somewhat towards his best form towards the end of the season. I want to see that from Eze. You know, there was a Palace fan that Cecil, I think, read out some of the comments saying Eze usually picks up his form towards the end of the season. So if he does that, a player like Eze, we go where he was getting used to the system, you know, a couple of good performances, good goals here and there, you think of Spurs, but then the end of the season, that's when he picked up. If we go and win the Premier League title and he finishes the season strong, everyone will forget about Brentford when he got hooked at half-time. Do you know what I mean? We'll forget about all those things. Yeah. And all that will matter ultimately was, you know, winning the trophy at the end of the season.
No, I think you're absolutely right in the points you made there. I think the only thing that people have been saying is that if you look at the last 6 results, they've only had 2 wins in the Premier League. And some people would say, if not alarming, slightly concerning when you consider that by the same token, City have won their last couple of games and have looked good doing so. Yeah. And you add on to that as well, the fact that we finished runners-up 3 years in a row, there's that whole PTSD thing.
I get it.
But nevertheless, I think today was a good performance. Sorry.
I know, I will just say quickly on that, 2 wins in the last 6. You are right. But you think Liverpool was obviously poor, Nottingham Forest was poor, United was poor. Since then, the 3 was actually a really good win against Leeds, a really good win against Sunderland, and then a draw against Brentford. We were poor in the game, but to still get a draw, I don't think is the worst result. Brentford are a team that have lost 2 games at home all season. So the last 3, 2 big wins and a draw at a tough away ground, haven't actually been that bad. So I get what people are saying. You see City getting some good wins here and there. But like, we just got to focus on ourselves, you know. Go and beat Wolves on Wednesday. Then it's 7 points. And City are playing Newcastle, you know. So maybe something can happen there. But just focus on our own games. Go and make it 7 for sure on Wednesday. Do your job. And we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens indeed. Now, the draw is on Monday for the FA Cup in the next round. Obviously, you'd like a home draw. Is there any teams you would want to avoid, say? Or are you one of those, bring it on, anyone at home?
I'm comfortable that we can get the job done against anyone, but obviously you'd want less. Obviously you would.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Yeah, we got no control over that.
But is there any teams out there you think, no, I definitely don't want to play them?
Are you trying to set me up here, aren't you?
No, it's just something that came into my head. I mean, personally, we don't want to be playing City again.
Yeah, you don't want to
play. We got them in
the
Carabao Cup final. We got them after the Carabao Cup final, we played them like 2 weeks after. So we don't really want City.
No, ideally you don't want to play one of the big teams, especially away from home. But if that's what's going to come, then bring it on.
Yeah. We don't fear anyone, but yeah. Okay, and just finally then, so FA Cup job out the way, as expected. We talked about Eze putting himself forward for Wednesday. Is there anyone else that started today that kind of put their hand forward? Possible a chance for selection? Starting selection on Wednesday.
Yeah, I feel like everyone did. I thought Martinelli was good today. Although, again, in front of goal, I thought he could have been a bit more clinical. He did score a nice goal on his left foot, and I was frustrated. Like, why can't he do that against Brentford in the last minute when he's clear through? But, yeah, Martinelli could start. Interesting to see who picks Martinelli or Trossard. I think Saka will probably start instead of Madueke. But, again, if Madueke starts, I have no problem with that. Yeah, I think everyone impressed today. Everyone did a good job.
Confident we can get back on track? Maybe it's a silly question, but confident?
100%. Yeah, definitely am.
Travelling to away games has never been easier, especially with Rocket Mobile.
Unlimited data, unlimited everything in the UK. When you leave the UK, it's 20 gig of roaming data. Life is very easy.
£16 a month, no hassle.
How you doing?
You're doing all right? And this is what you get in Europe.
I know. Tony Adams!
Come on, like, thank you so much.
You're the man.